Okay, welcome back to the third episode of Tips from Dad. These are tips that I'm giving to my children, and if anyone else wants to watch this, that's fine by me. Okay, anyway, I'm just going to show you today how to make the most delicious, healthy bread imaginable. Now, I've been making this bread for 20 years. My children grew up on it, and once you taste and enjoy this bread, you don't really want to have any other type of bread. So I'm going to grab my oven mitts, and I've already just put a loaf on earlier today and got my Breadmaker here. Over the years we've worn out a few bread makers, and so we've tried various brands. The ones we've always found the best is the Panasonic Breadmaker, so a little plug for Panasonic there. I'm not getting paid by them, by the way. Anyway, here we have our beautiful loaf of whole grain wheat organic bread that was made, and it is absolutely delicious. Get a knife here and cut this bread. Now this bread, you can see it's just a kind of a nice colour there, not too dark, not too light, but this is 100% pure whole grain organic wheat, and I'm going to show you how to make this bread. Now with my tips this time, yeah, they're probably not necessarily things that everyone has in their kitchen, so but you know, you can pick up bread makers quite easily from second-hand shops, you know, for a few $20, $30, or you can buy them new for around about $100 to $150. But the thing that you do need if you want to make this type of bread is a wheat grinder. Now this is a grain master, and these things in New Zealand, you can buy them on Trade Me for around about $450. Again, you might find a cheaper second-hand one. And this one is not a stone grinder. Sometimes they're called whisper mills because they're slightly quieter than a stone grinder, but they're still pretty noisy, as you'll see. And so I just grab my wheat out of the cupboard. This is my wheat that I get from my friends who have a farm where they grow wheat down in Martin, New Zealand. Usually if you go online, you can find somewhere in your local area where you can access whole grain wheat. And so we grab the bowl here, and we're going to measure out 500 grams of this wheat. Okay, 500 grams, and then we put that into the wheat grinder, turn it on, switch it on at all. Sounds like a noisy vacuum cleaner. Gets a bit quieter once you put the wheat on. And this takes about 30 seconds or so for that 500 grams of wheat to be ground up. So while we're waiting for that to happen, we can, now this is still a little bit hot from that loaf, so normally you would wait until it would cool down before you start making the next loaf. There's 4 ingredients that go in before we put the flour in. So you probably couldn't hear what I was saying before, but anyway, we're going to put 4 ingredients in here before we put the flour. So we start off with 2 teaspoons of salt. and then we're going to put in 4 teaspoons of Surebake yeast. So this is a bread making yeast. It's got some other additives to help the process of the bread as it rises. So we put 4 of these, and you can be a little bit generous when you add these 4 teaspoons in, but you want to try and keep them separate from the salt, because apparently the two don't like each other very much. So we put in our 4 teaspoons of Surebake yeast, and then we're going to put in, so we've done 2 teaspoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of the yeast, and we're going to put in 4 tablespoons now of sugar. Now, you may not quite need that amount of sugar, but I just like to keep things in 4s because it's easy to remember. So 4 teaspoons of yeast, 4 tablespoons of sugar. So that's 3 of the 4 ingredients now, and then the last one before the flour goes in is gluten flour. Now again, you can buy this in your supermarket, but you're better to buy it at a bulk food place. We have places here like called Bin In. You might have something equivalent where you can just go in and scoop out what you want and put it into a plastic bag and bring it home. And this is gluten flour, and it's not 100% necessary, but because this whole grain wheat has a lower gluten content than white flour, you get a better texture if you add some gluten. So again, I just put 4 tablespoons of the gluten flour in. The other option, instead of using gluten flour, is just to do a 50-50 mix of 250 grams of your wheat flour ground up and 250 grams of white flour, and the white flour has the extra gluten that's needed. Okay, so you can see in here now we've got this wheat has been turned into flour, and we pour the flour into here. Okay, so now 2 more ingredients: water and oil. Now just zero my scales here, and I'm going to put in 30 grams of oil, or you can basically, that's roughly 2 tablespoons. So 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use butter if you want to. And then the water, and I've got a little measuring container here, and I've actually put a line around it, which is my bread line for making bread, and that is 400 mils or 400 grams of water. Some bread makers I've needed to use a little bit less than that, and you kind of have to experiment a bit with the water just to see what works best for your type of bread maker. But yeah, 400 is great for the Panasonic. So there we go, we have the water added in there, and then we put this into the bread maker, and we select the whole grain or the whole wheat setting on the bread maker. And on the Panasonic, that's a 5-hour cycle, but there is a rapid option, which means your loaf can be done in 3 hours. Anyway, like I said, there's a bit of investment involved here. You need a bread maker, and you need a grinder. I mean, obviously you can do the bread the old-fashioned way of kneading it and letting it rise and kneading it again. But you do need a grinder to grind the wheat. So there are some places where you can buy freshly ground wheat and to make your bread with, but obviously you pay quite a bit of money for that. This loaf here basically cost me maybe just over $2 to make, and so you're getting a loaf that's over 750 grams for a fraction of the cost that you'd pay for a loaf of this quality in the supermarket or in a specialty bread shop. So like I said, once you taste this delicious bread, you're spoiled for life. The thing about this bread is that one slice of it will fill you up and keep you sustained for quite a few hours. We found with our children that when we went on holiday and had bought bread, they got hungry a lot quicker than when they were having this bread. So yeah, I hope you can find a way to have a go at making this bread. It's definitely worth it.